Um, our parent volunteers didn't actually have that much to do. So one of them even got the chance to donate blood. I know Mr. Ebert stopped in. He could see that us student council board members were not doing our tasks very well, I'm sure. But it was a pretty good time, and we thank you all for your communication and your help. It was really fun. Prom is fast approaching. The date is April 13th, and it's once again at Discovery World. Um, we really appreciate your commitment to our students with keeping the prices affordable. We're thrilled that we're able to open the exhibits again, to take pictures and gather an hour before the dance. And we'll have more communication coming up regarding GoFan and ticket sales in the upcoming weeks. So our plan is to have online sales open on March 11th and continue until March 21st. I just want to reiterate, thank you all again for all your help. We really appreciate it. It's been a great couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the parent volunteers. I know we had a couple, and I'm glad to hear that it was just a success for you guys. So that's great. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and kick it over to Melissa Blahnik for the faculty.
All right, thanks
report.
everyone. Hello.
Yep.
So I just wanted to start with, I think where we left off, it was the musical was happening. I had a chance to see that on the Sunday. It was phenomenal. All the kids did such a great job, and a huge shout out to Miss Fig, Mr. O, parent volunteers, cast crew, everybody. It was just such a great show. I know there's a lot of work that goes into that. The blood drive, thanks Austin and everybody who did some work with that. I saw there was a post in the Highlander publications said you guys surpassed your goal of 65 pints of blood. That's amazing. So nice job with that. Also, I had a chance to see, and I know Mr. Ebert was there, so was Austin. Miss Rauch and Miss Zellman and their students had their final showcase for AP research in the collaboration zone. I believe that was February 8th. Really impressive to see the work that's going on with students in inquiry and just all that they researched. Austin talked about microplastics. I don't think I'll ever look at my water bottle the same. He did such a great job. So that was cool to see. On the 13th, there was a music event where I think it was 3rd through 8th graders from the district got to come to our school, which is really exciting because it hasn't happened for a few years since the pandemic. So I know Mr. Emanuelson, Mr. Charlie O'Brien, and then Mr. O were involved with that, with the orchestra, choir, band. My oldest son went. He was like, Mom, I went to your school today. It was so cool to see all the kids and the music and everything. So that was an exciting event on the 13th. Also on the 13th, teachers had sweet treats provided from the PTSO. So thank you all for that. I had a big, arms full of cupcakes and whatnot. Dr. Joint saw me in the hallway. He gave me a look. I said, don't judge me and all my sweet treats. So that's always great. Thank you so much for those. We have the BSU is having a showcase. I think it's this Saturday. Doors open at 6 o'clock to be able to see students engaged in poetry and dance. So if you or your family would like to attend, I'm sure they would be excited to be able to perform for us and show what they've been working on. We will soon be thinking about the end of the trimester with end of the unit exams and performance assessments, and probably get information about our exams, which will be March 6th and 7th. And then students will have that following March 8th off as well. Speaking of time off, we also, students will have off on Monday, and teachers will have an in-service. And then we will also, I think Mr. Ebert last time mentioned, as we sort of wrap up things for Try-2, and many of the AP classes wrap up, you will get more information out on boost sessions. So I'm sure shortly you'll hear a little bit about that timeline for students and parents, so you can kind of plan and know what topics and dates to be able to best prepare for some of the AP exams. I think that's all I have just from the last couple of weeks, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Bonnick? All right, Mr. Ebert, we'll turn it over to you then.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Melissa and Austin. You guys did a really good job explaining some good things that are happening around the building. And I certainly appreciate you guys being on the call, as always, and giving a perspective from student lens and the teacher's lens. I certainly want to say thank you also for the sweet treats. I grabbed my fair share as well, although I wasn't caught by the superintendent in doing so, and also had some delivered at the end of the day that were a nice addition to what I had already eaten. So we thank you, of course, again for the sweet treats and all the good things that happen in connection with the PTSO to our faculty and staff. People greatly appreciate it. If you don't always hear it from them, I think you do a little bit, but if you don't, you're hearing it from Melissa and I. That's important stuff. And certainly, I greatly appreciate the work that you're going to do tonight yet, which is to work through those mini grants that Melissa's been involved with, that a number of you have been involved with. I've seen from people. I think there's some really good and thoughtful things that people are asking for, and they matter. They matter in terms of the student experience. So absolutely appreciate the extra work that goes into the mini grant proposals and process. So thank you for that. Melissa talked a little bit about that concert for elementary and middle schoolers. We actually had two of them. Third, fourth, and fifth graders came, and then sixth, seventh, and eighth came in the afternoon. And I guess what I can add to that is it was great to hear some music. They were the different groups, in particular the band, but choir and orchestra as well, were playing music that all the kids would have understood and enjoyed. I will say that at one point they played just a little snippet of Taylor Swift in the band, and just about everybody in the audience started singing the song. So that was pretty funny. But I was talking to some high school students. It's a lot to put on to get the kids from the elementary schools and then from middle schools to come in, take kids out of our classes to run this event. But it's a great celebration of music at Homestead and really throughout MTSD. But a highlight for me was that I was talking to some high school kids before everybody was coming in. They're also helping to greet and whatever. And they had just told me, you know, when I did this as an elementary student, it was a highlight of my time in elementary school. So I guess I didn't realize it was that fun of a thing. I get it. It's a fun thing to go to the high school that you're going to be attending and seeing what people are doing, but really fond memories of times in the past, pre-pandemic. I was the principal who greeted the kids this time, and I was the last time in 2020 when we did it. But pandemic, of course, hit right after that. It's nice to see people. Nice to see us get that back going again, because a number of things just have died or changed over the years, as you know. So really fun day. Appreciate Melissa saying something about it. ACT prep emails were sent from me to junior students and families about prep time for the ACT. The deadline for that is on Monday of next week. We really want to know who's coming so we can plan accordingly about how to split kids up for the teachers that are going to be involved. Talk about this every year on here, and some of you have kids who have either gone through already or are seniors or are juniors right now. Highly recommend that they get involved with our math group. Mrs. Zortman and some of the other math teachers they're really spot on in what you need to do prepare for the ACT. A couple of English teachers, Mrs. Cicero and Mrs. Fraley, involved with two portions of the English part. And then two of our great science teachers, Mrs. Grace and Mrs. Pfaff, involved with some of the science section. It's a supplement to some of the other things that people might be doing, to be sure. But a free and open opportunity for juniors to come review some key concepts and then understand some tricks of the ACT. With that, the ACT is at the actual junior ACT is on March 19th. That'll happen before we meet again here. It's going to be a different schedule that day for juniors. They're going to get to sleep in at least by a few minutes. We'll have a big breakfast for them and then lunch available after the test. And then junior students would be dismissed from going to their 5th hour class. They wouldn't have to attend. We've done that the last couple of years. It's kind of a special and different day for the juniors who are taking that ACT, that state mandated ACT. And then we'll have forward testing and pre-ACT testing for freshmen and sophomores in April. More to come at that as we go forward. End of trimester 2 is right around the corner. I think it was day 47 or so today, maybe 45. So we've got about 13 or so school days before we get to final exams. I was also going to mention the AP research work from last week. Austin did a great job talking about his topic. I think he said I don't know if he said it there, but I've heard him say it. I've heard others say it about him. He's kind of done with plastics and water bottles because he put in quite a bit of time and research into his project. But not only is AP, and Melissa, by the way, is somebody who supports kids through the process. We had a few kids, I think, that were involved, Melissa, with psychology-based research questions. 2 kids that Melissa was their advisor. So she didn't mention that, but important stuff to be key faculty advisors for some of our seniors who are really at the end of this process in research. All AP classes will be ending at the end of Tri 2, Melissa's AP psychology class, some of the other things as well, which means that AP boosts will be coming. We'll get some information to kids before the end of Tri 2, and so that they know when they can come to meet with their teachers and prepare for AP exams that we hope they're signed up for in May. Of course, that registration process took place quite a while ago. So that's something to look for in terms of emails from me if you've got a student in an AP class right now. Prom, Austin talked about it. Super excited about being back at Discovery World. Absolutely appreciate the help from PTSO to fund some parts of it. We had a great time last year, expecting a great time again this year. Really neat venue and neat experience for kids. Prom is really the social highlight of the year, and it's a pleasure to go every year. Our winter co-curriculars are wrapping up. Melissa talked about Oklahoma. I'll also call out Fig and Mr. O for helping to navigate, all of the things that you have to navigate, along with 85 students who are involved in the performance. It was a great performance, and actually at the event the other day with the middle and elementary school students, there was a song from Oklahoma, the ending song from Oklahoma that the group actually sang for the students. So I thought that was really cool. Along with that, we've had some success recently with some of our teams. The swim team advanced to state coming up this weekend, so congrats to them. That's awesome. The wrestling team, for the first time in the history of Homestead High School, won the conference championship a week ago. I think that was about a week ago. And then on Tuesday night, they advanced to team state, so they were the sectional champs for the first time in school history too. So pretty neat. Coach Ernie Millard, who I talked about it as a retiring teacher last year here, I think he still stayed on as the wrestling coach for one last year while his son Charlie finishes out his senior year. Charlie is a state champion wrestler, and it's really neat to see Mr. Millard. If anybody knows him, they love him. Seeing the success that we've got, and there'll be a banner hung up finally for wrestling in the field house. There wasn't one because there was never a conference championship, so that's pretty neat. So wish those guys luck as well as we get to it. Boys hockey is playing as a 3 seed. Girls basketball is playing. They're actually playing tonight, but and so is hockey. But the girls are a 5 seed. But if you know anything about our girls basketball team, they're pretty good. So we'll see how they fare moving forward. Boys basketball, senior night tomorrow, and then one more game before they find out what their seed is. Should be fun for the next few weeks, watching some of our winter sports. And believe it or not, with the snow we had overnight, by the next time we meet, it'll be the middle of. Or not the middle of, it'll be spring sports season. So I'm looking at Austin here as a lacrosse player. He'll be a couple weeks into it by the time we meet again. So things are looking up as we move through trimester 2. I really appreciate the work that goes into short kilts. And Melissa mentioned the Black Student Union and their showcase that was listed in Short Kilts, along with a number of other things that some of our student groups have going on. One of the best parts about Homestead is that kids can make a club for anything that they have interest in doing. And I can speak to you and say I meet with kids 2 or 3 times a week who are trying to create new clubs. Now, they don't always work, right? But the idea is if you have an interest in doing something, we can help you get it started. You know, you find an advisor, and you get to work. And it's really awesome to see kids try to develop their skills and leadership and a number of other areas in some of the fun things they're doing co-curriculars. So I appreciate Short Kilts in helping us out with that. Melissa mentioned it. We should all know it. No school Monday, which is great. We'll come back after that, finish out the trimester. And if I do say so myself, I think we're ascending into the end of the trimester and into Tri-3. Looking forward to the next number of months. Austin, just a few more months before you graduate. So make sure you enjoy it. Okay. That's all I have. I'm happy to stick around and answer some questions too.
I've been just chatting up a storm over here. What a great way for Ernie Millard to cap off his career at Homestead. That's fantastic. And a huge shout out to Lee. She's the one responsible for pulling Short Kilts together for us this year. And we have some new people stepping up to the plate next year. So that'll be good for that. Any questions from anybody? All right. Well, thank you all very much. We're going to go on to the next phase of our meeting. You're welcome to stick around, but no need. I'm sure you all have other things you'd rather be doing this evening. So happy to let you go too. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
Yep. So the first thing we need to do is to approve the January minutes. Can someone give me a motion to approve? All right, Roberta. Anyone want to second it? Second it. Trudy, thank you. All in favor? I'll just do thumbs up. Just do a thumbs up emoji or something, or some sort of thing. All right. I think that's considered good. Passed. All right. So Jamie, you're up.
Okay, so our bank balance at the end of December was $53,169.10. We took in $2,138 in deposits, and that was mostly for junior conference dinner. We had a couple memberships, a little bit for staff appreciation and the Highlander Fund. Our expenses were for the junior conference dinner, and we have an outstanding check for $5,000 for mini grants, which will probably be processed next month, for an ending bank balance of $54,053.77. And that's all I have.
All right. And so that 5,000 would be in addition. So that would take down that 54,000.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure I understood that. Thank you. All right, area council, Miss Roberta, my partner in crime. You're muted, my friend. Having just done it, I'm going to help you.
Okay. All right, great. So at the last area council meeting last week, Dr. Joint gave us an update on the annual climate and culture survey. A few highlights we're celebrating. We're all 90% and above results. Our teachers are available and communicative. School promotes physical safety. Child feels safe at school. Clearly stated expectations for student behavior. Child is encouraged to grow and persevere through challenges, appropriate level of access to technology. Friendly school staff. School promotes learning. School is well maintained. School is clean. So those were some fun highlights. Everything was pretty positive, for the most part. And then, there was more talk about the budget and kind of like, the crises, but also what goes into the funding that we get. And operational revenue is largely controlled by state calculations. An increase in resident students increases funding, however, not typically proportionate to expenditure needs. State equalization aid impacts taxes, but not very impactful for MTSD. And school districts' operations cannot survive on one-time allocations through federal relief programs. So the state is lagging in how they fund public schools, and the problem is only gonna continue to grow. And we're forecasting at least a $4 million deficit in the 24-25 school year. So the district will have to make some difficult decisions, and they're gonna go to zero-based budgeting approach. And let's see. What else? Oh, I think that's all I have right now for the area council update.
From a president's report perspective, I think just really highlighting what we're talking about here today with the mini grants. We saw a tremendous uptick in applications for mini grants this go around, and I don't expect that's going to slow down anytime soon with the budget cuts in play. And I think with what's going on at the state level and for our district, the need for our organization and organizations like ours is just that much greater. Whatever we can do to provide additional support to the schools and to our teachers and other educators, that it's critical right now. So kind of an exciting time for us to be able to at least try to offset some of that burden with some exciting mini grant opportunities. Let me see if I can pull those up, and then I can kick back over to you, Roberta. Perfect. Which one should I pull up first?
The club mini grants. We'll start with club mini grants. So right, yeah. So the budget for this, so we did an offering in October, and now again in February. And so the budget offering for February is $750. We had 3 mini grants. One from National Art Honor Society. They're looking for mat boards and other art supplies for Homestead Art Gallery night. And one of the requirements of the club mini grants, which are new this year, is that we would like a student officer to submit them. And Haley Case put in a beautifully written letter request. And they are asking for $250 for these mat boards, and she kind of explains the event, the art showcase event. Next one is the Homestead debate team, and the mini grant was submitted by the president, William Bai. It was about 6 pages of explanation. Also, again, very beautifully written. So these students are really, they're stepping up to the plate. They're engaging. They're excited about this opportunity. So they're looking, the debate team has qualified for 2 national tournaments. And so they're looking for contribution to some of their travel expenses. And we did put a maximum of $250 on the club mini grant. So they're looking for $250. The Homestead Jazz, Charlie O'Brien, faculty advisor, he submitted the request. I don't believe they have a board for the jazz club. He would like guest artists for spring jazz concerts. So we would contribute, they're asking for $250 in contribution to that. And then Best Buddies, they're looking for transportation. That was submitted by Lily Orbender. She's the president, and they're looking for transportation to provide, students to be able to attend some different events. And the, club is for opportunities for friendship, leadership, development, and inclusive environment for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so they are looking for $250. So we have a total of $1,000, and we met at the board meeting, and we said that we would be able to pull that extra $250 from another area that's not being used. So the board is recommending to grant all the requests for a total of $1,000. So do we want to have any discussion on this? Any questions? Any discussion? I can just put it to a motion. All those in favor of granting the club mini grants at a total of $1,000. If anyone would like to second that.
I second it.
Okay, so
Actually, it's going to be Leo seconds it.
okay. Oh, all those in favor of granting club mini grants at for the total of $1,000? Aye.
We do.
Thumbs up. Okay, those opposed? Okay, so that has been passed. And then the next
Okay,
is,
let me get that one up.
yep,
Sorry.
the regular mini grants. And again, there was an offering in October. The total budget for regular mini grants is $7,500 this year. In October, we did an offering of 5,000. And we pretty much used the whole budget. And then this offering is for 2,500. And okay, so we had total submission, we had 5 submissions totaling $8,746. So we're gonna need to make some decisions here to kind of stay a little bit closer to our budget. And so the first one is for chemistry. Mrs. Grace is asking for a refrigerator freezer to replace one that does not work. And they are not able to do certain experiments. And if they get the refrigeration elsewhere, then it kind of messes up timing for things. And so she's actually been requesting this for a few years because I went back into the teacher wish lists and there was one from like 2020. So she's been very patient and I said, well, you should probably just put it in a mini grant because she was looking for someone to donate one. So this is for $600. It will affect all chemistry students and some biology students too, grades 10 through 12. The art department, Mrs. Rudoshki is looking for 2 Canon Rebel T7 digital DSLR cameras for photo 1, 2, and AP. The students are limited to using their phones or personal digital cameras. And then these cameras enable students to have a greater artistic control. We did grant 2 of these last year and they're trying to kind of build up a classroom set. So they're looking for 2 this year for a total of $958.98. The engineering department, Mr. Patterson is looking for VEX V5 pneumatic kits. And they're to replace old and rudimentary equipment in the STEM lab. And the focus will be heavily on mechanical engineering and fluid systems, and this is great to help support that. And so he was requesting 6 kits for a total of $1,850. The choir department, Mr. Osterreich is looking for a Yamaha Clavinica piano, a digital piano. He says that the piano was purchased 20 years ago by a former choir director, and it's beyond repair at this point. They can't get parts, and it used to be the best piano in the school, and they're looking to replace that for a cost of $5,796, which includes a approximately $500 dolly to be able to move it around. And band is Mr. O'Brien submitted a mini grant commissioning 3 new pieces of music. They're part of a consortium efforts to create new music by diverse composers. The band would have special access to premiere pieces before they become available to the public and will receive an opportunity to collaborate with the composers. And that would be for $500. So again, a total submitted of $8,746. Again, our budget being $2,500 for this February offering. So we met as a board and we want to give our recommendations to you, to the membership, and that we can discuss. So our recommendation for discussion would be that we would purchase the refrigerator for science in full for the $600. Also the 2 Canon Rebel cameras for $958.98 in full. The VEX V5 pneumatic kits, instead of 6, 4, I contacted Mr. Patterson, and he said that 6 is ideal, but 4 would be, you know, very useful and help limit sizes of lab groups. And for the Yamaha piano, since it is part of a shared larger funding, so at this time, we're recommending that we pass on it due to due to budget constraints, and that it's just such a high request. And however, that the choir is welcome to resubmit or pass this along, you know, like for the fall, especially like the dolly might be something that we could help with for our next mini grant offering next fall. And then the last one for band, for the music, we granted the jazz band just under clubs for $250, and we also had given a very generous grant for the PA system in the fall for the band. So at this time, we are just kind of recommending that maybe we pass on this one. And just due to budget constraints and, you know, granting other band mini grants recently. So the total therefore would be $2,793.30 is what we're recommending. That would get us closer to our $2,500 budget. It's, you know, it's always a tough decision to turn down anybody, and what Julie said is that I think we're going to see more and more requests of this kind, more larger ones. And then we'll just kind of have to make those choices and try to work within our budget the best we can. So is there any discussion regarding our recommendations, and if you know, if you would like to see something done differently or have more information?
Some additional context, I think that's important, Roberta, too, is we used to only offer mini grants once a year in the fall, and we recently changed that to offer 2 rounds of mini grants, with the fall one being like more budget heavy in terms of having more dollars available to spend in the fall. And in the spring, we generally weren't getting a lot of interest at that point in the year, so we didn't make it a very large part of our budget. So we're kind of at this point where we're getting more interest at a time where we have less to spend, which is part of why we think we might be able to encourage on the piano to like come back to us in the fall, where maybe we'll have a little more flexibility. And I think that as we transition leadership to new leaders for the PTSO, there might be conversations about how we want to handle some of our budget going forward when it comes to mini grants versus principal discretionary fund, and kind of revisiting some of those conversations, decisions, so that everyone's aligned and we're putting the money to the best and most important uses for the school. I know Principal Ebert sent a lot of people our way, and we also provide some discretionary funding toward priorities that he has, that maybe that shifts in the future. I don't know. That'll be decisions made for people, not me. But I just a little bit of context there. I think it's frustrating to be where we are, where we can't just say yes to everything. We do support the piano. There are like other fundraising efforts underway, so we don't want to like go back and say no, just forget about it. It's more, just come back to us after you've started some initial fundraising and we know that the piano is going to be coming, and then we can maybe commit to giving you money for the dolly or something like that to be able to move it around. So just a little additional context.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions, or is there any more discussion? Okay. So, with that being said, then we'll just move forward with our recommendations. Again, these are just recommendations. If anybody, would like to propose a different path of funding, that is fine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
With Charlie O'Brien, do you know, in speaking with him, what would be more important for him? Would he rather have the funding for the jazz performer versus the new music? I'm just wondering what was higher on his list.
Well, they come out of different pots, so that's the thing. The jazz is is a club. So that's how he submitted it under that.
Okay.
I did not, I mean, I guess I could have asked him, but I did not because it was submitted as a club mini grant and not a
Sure. I understand. I guess I was just trying to get a feel for, that said, would he rather have had one thing over another? I was just wondering if that conversation took place. That's fine.
Okay, sorry, no, it did not.
Not at all. Mhm.
Okay.
Well, if you like, Linda, we could amend the approval for the 250 for the club and just say it's 250 and allow Charlie to make that prioritization for us, if you feel like that would be a better route to go.
The way he was talking at the HBPA meeting last, he was really excited about this upcoming jazz concert that he wants to put on. So I think, I'm guessing that he'd rather have that to make it a whole. I just didn't want to make that decision for him. And just in conversation, I was just wondering if he alluded to the fact like, oh, this would be better or whatever. So it was just up for discussion. It's not a big deal.
That's perfect. No, that's great.
It's a good point. Very good point.
Okay.
So I think we'll keep it as is for now. If we learn anything new or different, we can always bring that back. But I think we'll just I think the best course is probably just leave it as is for right now.
Totally.
And
agree.
hope that he has some funding available for musicians. I know Spindler in the past has had to have, so fingers crossed.
I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah. Okay. I think that sounds good. Going back on mute.
Oh, Linda, I love you. All right.
All right, great. So, okay, so good discussion.
So I'll make a motion to approve as the board laid it out with the two cameras, the refrigerator, and is it four
of the pneumatic kits? Yep.
For the kits, yes.
For a total of $2,793.30. Do we have a second? Okay, Trudy.
Couple of them.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Those in favor of awarding the mini grants in the total of $2,793.30.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, are we in the majority? Okay.
Yep, definitely.
All right, looks like those are granted, and I will go ahead and email the faculty regarding those approvals.
Thank you so much for doing that, Roberta. That's
Absolutely.
I know it's a lot of work.
No,
And getting
it's good.
some
It's
pages
fun
from
to
the
see them
debate
come
team
in.
is
No, it's
Yeah.
fun, and especially the students. I love this new club thing and how, the students have to kind of present their own, and yeah, it was fun to read those, especially the 6 pages of documentation from the debate club. So
That's really fun. That's really
very fun. Good things happening.
Yes, exciting. All right, so I don't think we have Lee for all the praise that she was earning earlier from Principal Ebert. That's a shame. Linda, do you have any? I'm going to ask you to go back off mute.
I don't have anything really. If Trudy's on board, she can kind of weigh in. I think everything went well. I wasn't really there for the majority of it this time around, but we definitely had a lot to put out, and appreciate all the volunteers for that. And I know next up would be conferences in April. And I believe that is sophomore families.
I think
I
you're
think
right.
that's sophomore families. So yeah.
You do an excellent job, Linda. We really appreciate the work you're doing. And I know that
I think
you
we have a great team
that
right now, and I think we're
supports you.
having
Yeah.
fun. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's going good.
You're the hostess with the mostest. What can
Love
I say? So we are going to need a nominating committee for new board leader positions for next year. We have some people who have expressed an interest, and we feel like we have some good candidates already. We still do need to have someone, a group, and I think Rachel, this has been a place where you have served nobly over the last couple of years to help us as a nominating committee. So anyway, we'll be reaching out and seeing if we can get that committee pulled together for board positions for next year. And then that will be presented at the April meeting.
Perfect.
All right, and we still have some open committee positions for next year, but you know, we already are having people stepped up for leadership opportunities, so that's exciting. But some areas where we could still use some help is with Fly Guy, the teacher wish list, and beautification and grounds.
And there will be more. Those are just the ones that we have identified right now. So we'll be reaching out as some of those committees are, you know, kind of finishing up for the year and seeing where they're at.
All right, do we have any update from our partners and voices? Nicole? Yeah, Nicole Hartman.
Okay, hang on, give me 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Nicole said she was kind of jumping on and off the call, and she asked if I could just give her a little report, and she says that they are having a meeting on February 20th to finalize the last few events. The end of the year annual celebration at Possibilities Playground at the end of May, early June. Looking to do an open gym night at Homestead with Best Buddies in April. I think that's about it.
All right. Becky, anything, is Becky on? Do we have Becky still?
Becky said that she could not make it, but
Okay.
there wasn't a lot to report from boosters, just that winter sports are winding up, and Eric had kind of given us some information on that, so.
All right, and do we have anything on MTEF?
We do. So let's see, Danny mentioned a few things at area council. So the 25th anniversary celebration Mardi Gras Bash, February 24th at Shelley's. Tickets are $100 a person. The silent auction, I think it goes, so Trudy, you could probably jump in if you wanted to. Does it start this Friday? Tomorrow? Does it start tomorrow? I think it starts tomorrow and closes 8 p.m. on February 24th.
I do know it starts tomorrow. Trudy, you're muted though.
She's correct.
Okay. Any other thing that you'd like to talk about the Mardi Gras Bash?
No, I mean, it's the little part I'm in with volunteers and some of the gathering of the gift raffle items. It seems like we have brought together some really stellar kind of raffles, and hopefully everybody does go on and see if there's something they can help out with that. And I think their guests, I don't know what the guest list is yet. I haven't heard that part of it. So, and I know that has already passed to get the tickets. So,
okay, I see that there is 200 attendees so far.
oh,
so
good.
that was last week.
Okay, all right. You know more than that than I do then. So, yeah, seems like it's coming together very well, and everybody's very well organized with it.
Wonderful.
Awesome. All right. Any other business anyone wants to bring up to the membership? All right. Before we adjourn, I just want to highlight we have professionals from Rogers Behavioral Health coming to talk with us next month about substance abuse and risks and challenges there, and treatment potentially too, ways that we can maybe help our teens that might be struggling, or maybe try to prevent that from actually becoming a thing in the first place. So that's very exciting to have their support and their willingness to come and talk to our group. So that'll be next month. We may be following up on that with some additional perspective from other parts of our community in April. That's yet to be seen. We're still kind of working that out. But hopefully we'll be able to kind of do a follow-on with that in April. And then of course, May just is when we typically nominate and elect, I should say, our new governing board. So don't want to miss that for sure. So with that, I think we're ready to adjourn. Anyone want to move to adjourn? No one wants to leave.
Sure.
Okay.
I move to adjourn.
Second for that? All right, Judy. Everyone in favor? Yes, I'm in favor. And the other Julie Smallwood is in favor. Leo's in favor. He's just on the floor waving his paw. All right, well, thank you all very much for your attention and attendance. And it's important what we do here, and I appreciate everyone's support and help with it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
All right.
night.
You too. Thanks.